Hey dude, did you catch the latest episode of The Penguin? The opening scene was simply phenomenal. Beyond what words can truly capture. The moment we see the leg brace immediately evokes our protagonist, the Penguin. After all, in the very first episode, we were already shown his twisted foot, and watching him scratch it with a cane suggests to us that the injury is recent. The itchiness is a sign of a healing process. The camera then shifts to his mother's silhouette, seen through Penguin's eyes. Such a simple shot so perfectly captures her business ends and his attachment to her. The frantic expression of the mother paired with Penguin's eager questions naturally leads us to wonder. Could his psychological issues stem from his mother's prolonged neglect? He invites her to watch a movie. Clearly she has no time for that. But then there's a twist.
Maybe later.
It's a date then.
Oh yeah? Who's paying?
For a child his age, wanting to go on a date with his mother is endearing. But it also subtly hints at Penguin's Oedipal tendencies and expectation of something beyond a typical mother-son relationship. And his mother's response, in a way, feeds into this dynamic.
Oh, look at this face. My big, strong bull of a boy.
It's plausible to interpret this as compensatory attention, a way for his mother to reassure him after his injury, reinforcing his sense of strength. This interaction has become a habitual, a stable exchange between them.
You're mine. You're my big, strong bull of a boy. You never forget that.
Immediately afterward, the intimacy between Penguin and his mother escalates further, deepening Penguin's fantasies.
You're getting so handsome, I can't take it.
His brother's zombie imitation interrupts Penguin's fantasy. But to both Penguin and us as viewers, it sounds more like actual vomiting, a visceral rejection. This intrusion would be deeply offensive to Penguin, reflecting his disdain towards his brothers. Compared to Penguin's thoughtful demeanor, the brothers come off as chaotic and disruptive. We notice Penguin's growing irritation. They even knock over the bookkeeping ledgers, prompting an outburst from their mother. At this point, we're shown Penguin's satisfied expression. He longs to come out on top in sibling rivalry, even believing he has already won. But then, surprisingly,
'Cause we are a zombie family.
we must acknowledge that the mother is doing remarkably well. It's hard to imagine how exhausting it must be to support three unruly boys alone. Yet, she manages to address each of their emotions skillfully, striving for fairness. Still, when we shift back to Penguin's face, it's clear he's dissatisfied. At this point, you might be feeling a chill down your spine, just like I did. Because we already know, later on, Penguin's brothers die. Whether it's Penguin's attachment to his mother or his jealousy towards his brothers, all of it leads us to an unsettling thought. How exactly did his brothers die? What role did Penguin play in it? And as the story progresses, this sense of unease continues to grow. Due to their age, the older brother takes on more of a helper role for their mother. Almost like a pillar of the family, this is something that Penguin envies. Meanwhile, the younger brother, being the baby of the family, naturally requires more of their mother's care, something that Penguin also longs for. In multi-child families, this is a classic dynamic. The eldest child is often the one burdened with expectations, seeking parental approval by meeting those expectations. The second child, unable to follow the same path, instead tries to carve out a different role for themselves. The youngest, meanwhile, tends to be the cheerful one, the source of joy. In the case of the Penguin, he embodies the classic middle child syndrome, constantly feeling overlooked. When the three brothers come downstairs, a few simple lines of dialogue deepen our understanding of Penguin's character. First, when deciding what to play, the older brother suggests baseball. The younger brother suggests soccer. Clearly, both are coming from their own perspectives, with no regard for what activities might suit Penguin. These sports are far from ideal for him. Shortly after, they see Rex's golden car. The Penguin's excitement is evident, he can't help but reach out to touch it. The older brother, on the other hand, remains composed. What follows is a dramatic scene. Rex is in the middle of scolding someone. The older brother wants to avoid trouble and suggests they come back later. But the Penguin's face is filled with anticipation. This scene is a callback to the first episode where Penguin talks about his childhood idol right before shooting Alberta. It's clear that Rex is that idol. Rex easily remembers their names, knows their mother's name, and even recalls that the older brother is heading to our OTC camp. We learn that their mother does the books for Rex, meaning she is indirectly involved in gang business. Rex doesn't just give the older brother $50, but also asks him to send regards to their mother. These details get etched deeply into the Penguin's mind, setting the foundation for his future behavior.
Hey, Rex. Nice to see you.
To the penguin, Rex is seen through a glorifying filter. The older brother, as well as their mother, sees Rex as someone whose wealth is tainted, money made through dubious means. But the penguin appears to lack moral anxiety from a young age. What he sees in Rex is wealth, charm, and a sense of care for others in the community. When the three brothers make their way to the underground station, it's almost inevitable. We know the brothers are doomed. The only question is, what drives the penguin to commit such a horrific act? When the brothers crawl under the pipe and ask the penguin to join them, he almost falls, narrowly avoiding death. The resentment towards his physical limitations, the yearning to monopolize his mother's attention, the accumulated jealousy and frustration towards his brothers. It all culminates in that pivotal moment. When Penguin locks the gate, it's shockingly cruel, yet tragically inevitable. The only question left now is, will the penguin be burdened by moral guilt and reveal the truth to his mother? Clearly he does not. Not only does he revel in the rare moments of being alone with his mother, but he also eagerly hopes for his brothers to fade into oblivion. He is a classic case of an antisocial personality, lying without remorse, doing evil without pressure. As long as he can get what he wants, he will stop at nothing. The scene of shooting enemies on TV ignites a spark of joy in him. Yes, he's already eliminated his adversaries. And when we revisit his comforting words to Sophia in the second episode, they suddenly become chilling. The only thing that determines his stance or his words is self-interest. There are no other motivations. Naturally, the disappearance of two sons is a devastating blow for the mother. And even more crucially, she is highly perceptive. She must sense the tension between Oswald and his brothers. Whether or not she wants to believe it, there is no doubt she has her suspicions. Oswald's complete lack of emotion, the way he silently tends to her, these will only amplify her doubts. But what's done is done. After lying in bed for an entire month, she finally comes to terms with it. Now, all she has left is Oswald. Even if he is a devil, he's at least a devil who loves her. She's already lost too much. She cannot afford to lose Oswald too. So she further indulges Oswald's fantasies. If he wants a date, then she will give him one. She dresses in something seductive. Oswald dons a sharp suit. Together, they head to a jazz club, dancing all night in the ballroom. The mother represses every suspicion, burying it deep in her subconscious. But her words betray her true thoughts.
I can't do this alone no more. You have to promise me that you're gonna make something of yourself. That you'll get me every goddamn thing I deserve.
What's the subtext here? I could have had a happy family. But you ruined it all. I won't hold it against you now. But you owe me. You owe me everything I was supposed to have. The pattern of interaction between the mother and Oswald becomes fixed. Oswald takes care of everything for her, dances her favorite jazz with her, while she constantly encourages him to overcome every obstacle and rise to the top. But those thoughts she has repressed into her subconscious gnaw away at her daily, leading her to develop early onset dementia. She often forgets whether she is living in the present or in the night her children die. Whenever she becomes confused, she goes looking for the children, blaming Oswald for not trying to find his brothers. This is her true, uncontainable thought. These inner torments lead her to hallucinate, seeing things that aren't there. And now that the mother has fallen into Sophia's hands, a woman who also suffers from mental illness, they share an understanding of each other's pain, but also an insight into each other's weaknesses. On top of that, Sophia has a powerful weapon. A psychiatrist. We all know that Oswald's greatest concern is his mother. How Sophia will use Oswald's mother against him is something we're all dying to see. Let's find out next week.
Oh shit!